Hey there. I thought it would be a great idea to do a 5-part mini series on how to build connection and communication with our tweens and teens. And in this little mini teaching, I want to talk about how what we focus on grows. Now, I want you to think about your tween or teen and their self-worth like a garden. And what we spend time watering is going to grow. Now, we all know how weeds can choke the good stuff. And the weeds are those negative behaviors and those negative things that we tend to focus on, and we might not like something that our tween or teen is doing, and we want to fix that and change that behavior. Or maybe they are not doing something that we want them to do, and we tend to be prone to focus on those things. And that is just our natural, I think, tendency as moms, because we want good stuff for our kids. We want to make sure that when they leave the nest, that we have done our job. And so we tend to kind of see them as fixer-upper projects, and we want to tweak something here and we want to tweak something there. But here is the sobering truth, that for every one negative, we need 5 positives. Yikes. 5 positives for 1 negative. And you probably remember that those negatives that you heard growing up, they really stick to us. So I want to talk about an acronym called praise. Now, we are talking about meaningful praise here, not fake praise, not just to try and pump them up, but noticing those good things that they are doing that we tend to kind of just take for granted or let go. So here it is, praise. P is to point out their efforts. Start looking for those things that they are doing, where they are putting in effort. And I know some of you are like, oh, it's so hard. I don't feel like they are putting in effort. So let me give you a few examples. So let's say they hate math. They just hate math, but you catch them doing a little bit of math homework. And you can say something like, wow, I know you hate math, but I'm watching you and you're actually putting in some time on your math homework. Way to go. I know that's not fun for you. That's not easy for you. Or maybe you see them, they're practicing basketball because they want to get better, and you catch them doing that. And rather than focusing on how they're not practicing enough, which is so easy to do because we know how that is if you have a kid that plays a musical instrument or plays a sport or any kind of activity. In order to get better, they have to spend time, and a lot of times they're not spending as much time as we think they should be. But if we catch them when they are, and we can just say, you know what, wow, I see that you are putting an effort working on that piano piece that you're playing, or I see you out there and you're spending some time improving your basketball. Great job. So P is for pointing out their effort. R is recognizing small wins. Sometimes we tend to think it's not enough, it's so little, but we want to notice the little stuff, because remember, what we focus on grows. And if we focus on more of the good stuff and watering those seeds, before you know it, it starts really blooming. And this might be where you recognize that, wow, they didn't throw all their stuff down when they came right into the house and just leave it all sitting there in front of the door. And you can say, thank you. Wow, I noticed that you just put your stuff away after school. Or thank you for, bringing your glasses to the sink. I noticed I didn't even have to ask you to do that. Little small wins go a long way in increasing the likelihood that they're going to repeat those positive behaviors. A, acknowledge their growth. Again, just another way to notice those things that they're doing where they're growing. It might be, wow, I noticed that when your brother was bugging you, your little brother, that you didn't retaliate and you just showed a lot of patience there. I see you're really growing in exercising your patience with your little brother. Or, you know what? I really appreciated it when you got out of the car this morning and you said thank you for driving you to school. Little wins and showing them that you appreciate it. The next time you go to school, the likelihood of them saying thank you when they get out of the car will likely increase. A, acknowledge their growth. Let's say your kid's grades in a certain class, let's use math for example, you've noticed they've improved somewhat over the semester. And you just notice they put in a little bit more time. We can acknowledge that growth. Like, wow, when you started out with this new teacher at the beginning of the year, I noticed like it was really hard for you. And, you're taking those tests and you weren't feeling great about how you were doing. And I've really noticed that you've had a lot of improvement and way to go. You want to acknowledge their improvement. It could be, let's say, the basketball again. They're out there practicing, so you can affirm they're putting in the time and the effort, but also acknowledging that, wow, I'm noticing you're putting in that time and you have really improved. The likelihood that they are going to be practicing those things just by you acknowledging that growth is going to build them up and increase the likelihood that they're going to continue to grow in that area. Identify moments of kindness. We so often forget to acknowledge the moments of kindness that we see our kids exhibiting. And it could be something like, wow, I noticed you held the door open for the elderly lady or for that lady. Thank you. That was so nice. Or I noticed that you got up out of your chair and you let the elderly lady sit down. Or I noticed that when your friend was wanting to talk, you really spent time listening to them. You're a good friend. And then finally, S. Well, I have two more. S, show gratitude for their actions. So again, like I had said, thank you for helping out. Thank you for picking up your room when I, ask, or thank you for doing that and I didn't have to ask. Thank you for taking out the garbage when I didn't have to ask. Knowing, and it might not be that, but where you can, show gratitude and catch them doing those things that you can say thank you for doing that, no matter how small. And then E, emphasize their progress. So we want to emphasize progress over achievements. So noticing again their growth. And it helps to instill a growth mindset in our kids. If you don't know growth mindset, check out Carol Dweck's book, The Mindset. It's wonderful. We want to notice their progress. I've been watching you this year, that you have really been putting in that effort and you have made progress. I'm seeing that you have really grown in your patience or not losing your temper. Or I can really see that you are trying to stay calm when you feel irritated with me. And when I've told you that it hurt my feelings, I'm noticing that you're not doing that as much, that you're trying to be kind. And I really appreciate that. So let me go over these really quickly one more time. P, for point out their efforts. R, recognize small wins. A, acknowledge their growth. I, identify moments of kindness. S, show gratitude for their actions. And E, emphasize the progress they are making. When we can focus on those positives, choke the weeds of looking for those negatives and nagging and reminding and lecturing, and instead shift, as hard as it may be, to noticing those little positive things that they're doing every day. You are going to notice a difference in your kid, in your relationship with them, in being connected to them, and also their actions, because they're getting that positive reinforcement that they, by the way, are starving for from us. They're starving for that positive attention. So let's really focus in. And I want to give you just a little assignment to just one day, for one day, just don't say anything. Don't nag, don't lecture, don't remind, but notice one or two positives that you can affirm in your kid, and hit reply and let me know how it goes.